Right. Good morning. We are live. Let me make sure we are up and everyone is seeing the right screen. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Lights On After School. We are so excited to have you all here and joining us for our annual now Expanded Learning Leadership Awards and Fireside Live. I'm gonna pull these down real quick. All right, so let's chat a little bit. What is Lights On After School? Hopefully those of you that are joining us are very familiar with Lights On After School, but Lights On After School started in 2000, and it is a great opportunity to celebrate after school programs every year. And so more than 8,000 programs celebrate each year, a lot of those here in California. I think we have at least 800, if not more, programs registered to celebrate Lights On After School this week. And it draws 1 million people all over the country to celebrate after school programs and the amazing staff that support them. And so we're excited today to really be celebrating those staff that have worked with our after school programs in this last year. And our leadership awards actually started back in, I think, 2014. I was looking through the list of awardees, and we've been doing this for quite a while now. And so we started back then with 2 leadership awards, and that was our Visionary Leadership Awards, and it's expanded over time. And so we're really excited to have with us our 4 leadership recipients of the year. And so, Michael, I'm going to turn it over to you. And you just, there you go.
Welcome everyone to Lights On After School and Fireside Live. This is one of my favorite days of the year. I remember back in the days of leading the Sunset Neighborhood Beacon Center in San Francisco. This would be a huge day. We would have at the middle school, the G&E Middle School in the middle of the Sunset District, we would have a big policy briefing. We would have elected officials from the state and even sometimes from the federal government, and certainly from the city and county of San Francisco, the school district, crowd into that middle school library and see performances by youth, hear parents talk and young leaders talk and educators, and be greeted by the principal of the school. Then we would give a policy update about what's happening, what's moving for children and families, what's needed. And then we'd do a site visit through, and they would go visit the robotics, the movie making club, the DJ club, the hip hop dance group, just a celebration. And the surrounding elementary schools that we also worked at for that middle school, the children would make banners, and we would have a big lights on parade, and there would be hundreds of students and staff parading through the Sunset District, beating drums and just having a great time. Great memories. And one of my favorite responsibilities or privileges in this work is to honor heroes that have been making such an impact and make an impact every day for children, youth, families, communities, and schools. And that's why we're here, to honor our heroes. Let me introduce another hero for children and students, families, communities, and that's our Deputy Superintendent of Public Instruction for the Opportunities for All branch, Sarah Novell Morgan, who is my boss and my colleague, and has become a fierce champion for expanded learning, and probably already was, but she's grown closer to our work and seen firsthand, especially through the last several years, and especially through the pandemic, the impact, the transformation that expanded learning opportunities can have for children. It's just been phenomenal, the leadership that she's given. The Opportunities for All branch is over the Expanded Learning Division, special education, early education and care, nutrition services, multilingual support. It is a broad swath of all the things that are really stepping up to the front. And Sarah's come on to join us, and welcome, all of us across the state. Sarah, thank you for joining us. I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Michael. That was a very kind welcome from someone who himself is a national leader in this space. I'm always pinching myself that not just California has Michael, but the Department of Education has Michael within it. So lots of leadership here. The Lights On After School is a great event that's celebrated nationally each year, as Michael shared. The youth in our after school programs know firsthand why after school is important and what it provides to them and their families. I would say their families know why it's so important. It's so critical, actually, that families are always demanding more of these programs. Congratulations to our 4 chosen youth leaders today. I'm honored to be here celebrating with each of you, just you and your dedication to California's youth. Research has shown high-quality expanded learning programs create the conditions for students to develop caring relationships with program staff from their own neighborhood and communities, and leaders who look like them. The expanded learning program offers a safe place, both emotionally and physically. Students lend their voice to the design of the program and exercise leadership skills to shape their own experience. The current after-school education and safety and the 21st Century Community Learning Centers funding, and now the new Expanded Learning Opportunities Program funding will provide all educational agencies to provide the best strategy to close the opportunity gap and provide social, emotional, and mental health experiences that research has proven help us to significantly increase school day attendance and support other parts of student growth and health. If they love their after-school program, they are more likely to attend the school day. Our historic 2021-22 California state budget acknowledges the importance of expanded learning opportunities and provides the impetus for California to transform its educational landscape and build the system that California students and families need, one that includes universal preschool, expanded learning to the extent that's not even possible before. Like, we already had more than every other state, and now all of our K through 6, TK through 6 will be having expanded learning opportunities, as well as universal meals, community schools, and that wraparound with health and mental health services. The California Expanded Learning Leadership Awards celebrate the amazing 4 individuals that support students in expanded learning programs, especially during a critical time, recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be looking to these leaders and to others across the state as we move into our historic budget and really provide for California that transformation that our schools need and our students deserve. Thank you again, Michael. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate your leadership and your passion. And folks, I can tell you that when the camera's not on, she's equally committed and passionate, and was so thrilled about what's emerged in this state budget. Sarah, you mentioned we've already had more than other states. Just for viewers who may not be familiar, the after-school education safety funding alone, I'm not talking about the federal 21st century, which goes to every state, but in terms of state funding allocated to expanded learning after school and summer programs, the ACES program alone at $650 million is more than all 49 states combined, times 3. And now we just added 1.75 billion, growing to 5. So it's almost, I almost don't have words to describe what this means as terms of a historic event. Heather, I'm going to turn it back to you, but I really appreciate the partnership with the California AfterSchool Network. The California AfterSchool Network is part of a 50-state network of similar organizations, funded and organized in part by the Mott Foundation and in partnership with our dear friends at the AfterSchool Alliance in Washington, D.C. And we are a close partner with the California AfterSchool Network. And Heather, as part of the network, has been hosting the Fireside chats with me. So as a thank you, I'm going to put on my California AfterSchool Network hat and pass it to you.
Thanks, Michael. Yes, we Definitely appreciate the deep partnership we have with the Department of Education. And Sarah, thank you for joining us this morning. And we appreciate your leadership within CDE as well, and advocating for all the program supports that our students and families need. And so with that, I'm very excited to kick off our official leadership awards, and we'll be bringing up our first winner, and this is for our Emerging Leadership Award. So I'm going to ask that Melissa and Sandra join me on screen, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Melissa.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Good morning and happy Lights On After School. I'm so excited to be here with you all. My name is Melissa Perez, and I am a program specialist with the California After School Network. Prior to joining the CAN team, I was the ACES Expanded Learning Supervisor in the Fullerton School District. And it was here where I had the opportunity and the pleasure to work with Sandra Mendoza for almost 15 years. I'm so very proud of Sandra and her commitment in supporting children, youth, and families in the Fullerton community. And though I don't work there anymore, still is a special place in my heart. So let's hear a little bit about Sandra. Sandra Mendoza is an ACES program site lead / site coordinator, same role, just a different title, at Raymond Elementary School in the Fullerton School District in Orange County, Region 9. Woo woo, Region 9. She lives in Anaheim, which neighbors her work, and it's literally just like a 5-minute drive away. So she's still very close to home. She has always known that she wanted to work with children and youth. And sorry about that. She's always known that she wanted to work with children and youth, but never did she expect things to turn out the way they did. She actually wanted to be a teacher. Surprise, surprise, happens to the best of us. Sandra graduated from Fullerton College with her AA in Liberal Studies in 2006. And then in 2007, she applied to the Fullerton School District ACES program as an instructional assistant recreation while attending Cal State Fullerton. As the years went by, she realized that she no longer wanted to be a core day teacher, and instead she found that she enjoyed working in the ACES program. She also works with her dad in his welding business and makes gates and fences and doors. And so she's pretty talented. And until this day, she still helps when she can, but she doesn't get paid. It's just more of a hobby. And in case you're wondering, she knows how to weld and build gates. So if you need a gate, reach out to Sandra in Fullerton. She became a site lead / site coordinator in 2011 and has enjoyed every moment of it. Past students return to see her, and it is amazing to see their accomplishments and how they remember their experiences and the impact that the ACES program had in their life. It is such an amazing feeling for Sandra to see the changes and the impact the ACES program had in their lives. And being a site lead is not an easy job. For those of us who have that role, I think we all know that, but making a difference inspires her to continue to work hard. Her favorite quote is, "There is never a dull moment. Every day may seem routine, but it is never the same." She loves seeing her students' faces as she arrives on campus, and they are already shouting her name across the blacktop. She makes sure to acknowledge and validate them. And little do they know how their excitement positively impacts the start of her day. In her 15th school year with the Fullerton School District, Sandra and her team continue creating and facilitating opportunities for the students and love seeing them engaged and excited to be in the ACES program. Sandra, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on your award.
And Sandra, we'll turn it over to you if you want to just share briefly.
Yes, first and foremost, thank you, Melissa, for giving me this opportunity, for nominating me for this award. It is an honor. I'm very humbled to receive this award, and it is a really nice plaque award that I'm going to keep this like posted everywhere, because we don't normally get these opportunities. And I know there's a lot of great people out there working with the young youth, and it's just an honor. I am so excited. It means a lot to me. all the dedication and time we put, and it's a team effort. I am very thankful for my team now here at Raymond, the school, the decor, we collaborate. So it is just an amazing feeling. And I was really excited to share this with everyone. So I shared it with my family. Hopefully they're live streaming now. I shared it with everyone that I could. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Sandra. We are so glad and appreciative to have you in this field, and congratulations on your award. And thank you, Melissa, for joining us. And as a fellow Titan, gotta give a shout out to the Cal State Fullerton grads.
Hey,
all right,
Heather, let's ask people to give an applause. We're just virtual. Even if you're instead of in front of a computer screen, let's give a big clap and a hooray for Sandra.
Yes, and you all can't see this, but on my screen, I see all of our people on the Zoom clapping and congratulating. And I also am watching the chat box, the live chat on YouTube, and it is blowing up with much appreciation to Sandra. And so the chat box will be available after the event. So I hope all of our awardees go back and take a look through the chat box so they can read all the love that's being sent their way. So now we're going to transition to our Inspirational Leadership Awards. And up first, we have Martha. And so Iqbal, I'm going to ask you and Martha to join me on screen. And I think Iqbal's there. All right. Might be having a bit. Oh, there's Iqbal. All right, Iqbal, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Heather. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here on the Lights On program. And I have been here at the CDE for over 10 years in this program, and here to support all the grantees. And today it's my honor to introduce one of our best. She's Martha Pena. Martha Pena is an after-school coordinator at Oakland Unified School District, which is part of the Community Schools and Student Services Department. Her role involves managing and supporting 30 community-based organizations and 72 expanded learning programs, providing high-quality after-school programs to Oakland. Martha received her bachelor's degree in communications and master's degree in educational technology from California State University, East Bay. She is an Oakland native and so proud to support her community. And that's the best thing we like about her. For over 13 years, Martha has dedicated herself to encouraging girls to pursue careers in STEM through her work at TechBridge Girls, a nationally recognized nonprofit, and has inspired many of today's female engineers. She brought her passion for the after-school programming to Oakland Unified School District 4 years ago, and since then has implemented new structures and protocols that have created safe and supported spaces for expanded learning staff to share their best practices and support one another. In her spare time, she enjoys cooking and camping in Death Valley with her 3 daughters. Thank you, Martha, for all that you have done for Region 4 for Oakland Unified School District. Congratulations, and I will give the mic to you.
Great. Thank you so much, April, for this amazing opportunity, and Michael and all of the Expanded Learning Office for the nomination. And it's amazing to be honored for all the work that OUSD has been doing these past couple of years. But I really can't take the full credit. A lot of this work, on all of this work, was really done by the amazing community here in Oakland. All of our expanded learning staff, from our site coordinators to our line staff that have been on the ground, really supporting our students during these very difficult challenges. And so I want to take a minute to share this honor with all of them. And I'm hoping that they're all here, and just say thank you for everything that you all do for our students here in Oakland, and for your dedication and your hard work. So this goes to all of them. and I share this with them. So thank you. And it's great to be honored and appreciated for all the work that we've done. And go Oakland.
Thank you, Martha, and big congratulations to you. And I invite our Zoom folks to give a round of applause and our YouTube folks to drop all the love into the chat box. We are so appreciative for you, Martha, and your leadership.
Thank you. And you can see them all. That's a great picture, by the way, of my team.
Thank you.
All right, and up next, we've got our next award winner for Inspirational Leadership Award. So I'm going to invite Bessie and Beth to join me on screen. And Bessie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, shit. Thank you, Heather. So hello, my name is Bessie Glossinger, and I'm the Regional County Lead here in Region 1. And this is your Northern California Coastal Region. And it is my pleasure today to be here to introduce Beth Pine for Inspirational Leadership. I've had an opportunity to work with Beth for over 9 years now. Beth works at the Fort Bragg Unified Kudos After School Education and Safety Program. She's a coordinator and a site lead at the Dana Gray Elementary Program. Beth has been a leader for her community in Fort Bragg for over 20 years, working with expanded learning programs. She has had youth grow up in her programs, come back and work for her programs. You cannot go anywhere in Fort Bragg and have someone not remember Beth for the wonderful impact that she has had on their lives. She is currently representing Region 1 and serving on the California Department of Education Workforce Implementation Committee. She's on the Region 1 Advisory Committee. She supports both the region and the state in her role as an ASAP Connect coach, technical assistance fellow. And you cannot find someone who is more ready at any time to give support and a lending hand. Congratulations, Beth. This is a well-deserved award for you.
Thank you, Bessie. Those are very kind words. Not more than probably a couple of weeks ago, Bessie said to me, Beth, you have surrounded yourself with a wonderful community. And Bessie and Malia, you are the start of that community. And of course, been supported for the last 20 years by the wonderful staff that I have that runs the program and does the hard work. And the other community that has loved and supported me that Bessie and Malia introduced me to is the CAN network and the ASAP Connect folks. And they are the inspiration, and they are the reason that I was nominated for this and able to receive it. And so I'm going to also share my award with all of those wonderful folks that have surrounded me, loved me, inspired me, supported me. And all I can say is that I'm going to do my best to pay it forward, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beth, and lots of love and appreciation for you. And I again invite all of our folks here in the Zoom room to give Beth a huge round of applause, and all of our folks joining us on YouTube, continuing to drop all of the love into the chat box. So much appreciation for you, Beth. All right, and
give a shout.
We're excited now. We'll be moving on to our Visionary Leadership Award. And so very excited to have Scott Payne with us as our Visionary Leader this year, and Allison Haynes, who is going to chat a little bit. So Allison, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Heather. Hey, y'all. I'm Allison Haynes. I am the Riverside County lead for the System of Support for Expanded Learning Programs. And I'm so proud to be the TA provider to our dear awardee, Scott Payne. Since 2011, I've been working with Scott. That's when he joined over there in Hemet Unified. And he's been employed with the Expanded Learning Program for all those many years. He's been on a trajectory that has caused him to continually work hard, see improvement, and be promoted. He is currently the director of the SAFE program, that is SAFE, Students Achieving in Fun Environments, Expanded Learning Opportunities program for the Hemet Unified School District. The SAFE program currently operates in 19 ACES funded sites. That's 13 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 2 K-8 schools, as well as 2 asset funded high schools. The programs serve approximately 2,000 to 2,200 students daily. Throughout his educational career, Scott has been privileged to have spent 24 years as an educator working with students. He has served as a teacher, an assistant principal, a coordinator, and a director. His academic background includes a Bachelor of Arts from San Diego State University and a master's in educational administration from Chapman University. It is his core belief that exceptional expanded learning opportunities programs are the combination of hardworking, dedicated staff and site district support. At Hemet Unified, the team strives to provide all students with a safe and supportive learning environment. Working together as a team with the SAFE staff, the school site staff, and students and parents, the SAFE program offers numerous enrichment and academic opportunities to engage and to build a sense of belonging for all of the Hemet Unified students. For as long as I've known Scott, he's never wanted to take the credit. For as long as I've known Scott, he's put his team in front of him and said, this is the reason why. I think the thing that impresses me the most is the integrated approach. It's not just SAFE after school trying to make a difference, but it's the entire district, well integrated, and Scott leads that effort. Personally, Scott has been married to his wife, Alita, for 23 years and has 3 daughters, McKenna, she's 21, Shelby, 20, and Kaya, she's 16. He loves to watch his children play soccer and volleyball. Congratulations on being honored with the 2021 Visionary Leadership Award, Scott. And thank you for leading with love.
Thank you, Allison. Very humble about receiving this award. I think when Michael called the other day, I sat back and I'm like, Visionary Award, it's not hard to have or get when you have such a team around you. I spent hours on the phone with Allison, just talking about what could we do now? What if? Can we do this? And just bidding her ear. Our Region 10 directors, such a fabulous group of people, just constantly conversations with, just trying to push the bar to do the best we can. But I'm very fortunate because I have a district that just supports us, all the way from the superintendent that persuades us to take risks for our children. My assistant superintendent is there all the time for me, my SAFE office staff, my S4 team. But this Visionary Award to me is a team award, and it goes really to the people that are out on the front line that are doing the work. And my site facilitators and my classroom activity specialists, it is by far the best group of people I have ever worked with, and they have the best heart. So I just want to congratulate them because it's not about me. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and huge congratulations to you. And yeah, let's do some applause on our Zoom and drop all the love into the chat box. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to ask everybody to come on camera real quick. And hopefully what we'll be able to do is all give each other a huge round of applause. So thank you so much to our nominators for coming on and presenting these awards. And a huge, huge congratulations to this whole group and to our 4 exceptional leaders. We appreciate you and all that you are doing for our youth and families in California. So yes, congratulations. And Michael, I think I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap up our awards, and we're going to start to transition.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. I'm really moved emotionally just to, as each of you were introduced, and thank you for those who nominated and came on. For those of you that received the award, I think you know how deeply and passionately those who nominated you appreciate you and respect you and support you. And was so important for them to be here and lift you up and highlight you. So thank you for those that nominated. And I have to say, I think the most favorite part of this job is when I get to pick up the phone, dial someone's cell phone, and say, hey, you've been nominated for the statewide Visionary Leadership Award or Emerging Leader, or, you know, and the reaction is priceless. Martha called me back. She says, I'm in Death Valley. I don't have good cell signal. I'll call you Friday. That was the voicemail she left back. Then she called me Friday and I thought I was in trouble. Beth was waiting for a group of children. She was, of course, filling in and working. And actually she tells me there's a mob of children walking towards her, getting ready for a reading circle when she picked up the phone from me and had to navigate this. And I think, Sandra, you were wondering whether you should actually pick up the phone because you thought it was spam. And Scott, you were always like getting up to turn off a fire alarm or something. Whatever it is. So priceless moments in the moment, dedicated workers. And it's just one of the greatest moments that I have in this work is to honor and lift up you. So thank you. We're going to transition to Fireside Live. For those that might not be familiar with what that means, it's not to be confused with California fires. We've been doing fireside chats for like a year and a half plus 20 months or so with COVID. And last year for Lights On, when we usually have this big celebration in the CDE lobby for Lights On After School. In fact, I think one of the last ones we had in person, we actually had a marching band from Florin High School actually come into the lobby at CDE. And I think that got everyone's attention in the building. All through the 6 floors, there were people popping up to see what was going on down in the lobby. And we thought, man, we got lights on. We're not going to be able to gather people in the lobby. And so we made a pivot to do this virtually and live stream it. And we were having the fireside chats. And we said, let's call it Fireside Live. Let's just do it in real time, pull people together from all across the state. And the beauty of it, these things that emerge in COVID is the beauty of it is that, before our honorees were able to bring 1 or 2 people to Sacramento with them, and they would be able to sit in the lobby. And of course, the upside then is you could meet the state superintendent and sit down and have a conversation and get pictures with the state superintendent. And while that's not possible, here we are with your dear loved ones, friends, families, colleagues able to log in and share this moment with you. So I'm to all of you who are watching on the YouTube live stream, as we transition to Fireside Live, let's just have, thank you for your support, for your work. For those of you that work alongside of our honorees today, they've all given you a shout out. I want to do the same. What makes expanded learning transformational is the humans who are doing transformative work, loving and supporting our children. You're all leading with love. Really, you're leading with love and care. And I just can't say thank you enough. So with that, thank you again, Sarah, for staying with us and staying on. Thank you for those that nominated. We're going to transition to say goodbye to our colleagues and guests, and we're going to transition to Fireside Live. Back to you, Heather.
Thanks, Michael. And yes, huge thanks to Sarah and our nominators. It was great to have you on with us this morning, and very excited to transition to our Fireside Live and get to really have a good conversation with Martha and Sandra and Scott and Beth. You all were nominated as leaders for a reason. And so we're looking forward to spending the next 30-40 minutes or so really chatting with you, getting to know you even more, and learning from you. And so we've got the introductions to who you all are. And so really would like to take that a little bit deeper. And the first thing I'm going to ask all of you, and would love to hear from each of you on this, but is to hear a little bit about your experience with expanded learning. Some of that we heard during your bios, but really hearing from you how you got involved and why you stay engaged with the expanded learning field, what this field means to you. And so I'll open it up if anybody wants to kick us off. Otherwise, I can popcorn it to someone.
Hey, Heather, before we jump in, I just want to acknowledge that Scott, you're in an unusual place right now, and so somewhere on the planet. Tell us where you're driving to, Scott, and where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm actually in a Starbucks in Mesquite, Nevada, and I'm on my way to Montana for my daughter's college senior night for soccer. So my wife and I are making the trip. She's graciously out in the car waiting for me. And we're on our way. We left at 4 o'clock this morning and headed out.
Well,
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and we appreciate your wife waiting for you so you could join us this morning. Scott, maybe do you want to kick us off then with the first question?
Yeah, Scott Payne, Director of the Expanded Learning Program at Hemet Unified, Riverside County, Region 10. I think in the introductory, Allison pretty much said that we serve 19 schools, ACES schools, 2 asset schools. We see about 2,000 kids per day. And we are spread out pretty far. We go up into the mountains of Idlewild all the way to a little area called Winchester, pretty big area that we serve. 87% of our students are unduplicated students, so low socioeconomic area that we're serving. Amazing families, just a wonderful, wonderful district to be working for. I think probably for me, I was a principal, and I will speak some truth here, and I don't mean any, but my first job as a principal, I had an after-school program there, and I was so overwhelmed with just what I knew or was trying to do as a principal, I didn't even really pay attention to the after-school program, to be honest with you. And then I looked back after I joined the expanded learning program, and I'm like, how I should have done so much more, because I could have utilized that for my students, for my parents, if I would have known. And so that's been one of the things that I try to bring to our district, is making sure our schools are aware of that on there. But I think the thing that keeps me going in this program is the students and my staff. My staff is like I said before, one of the hardest working staff I've ever seen. They got the biggest heart. They go above and beyond every day. It's incredible what they do. But the relationships they build with the students share so much information with them. It's a non-risk environment for the students to succeed. We look at our attendance of our students who attend the after school program have better attendance than the other students because they want to be there. We have kids who try to show up just for our program, not the school day, because that's how much they enjoy it. You know, now I will say we don't let them do that, but you know, these kids, the program that they do, and it's so rewarding, and we can go in so in depth with the activities that they don't have the opportunity to do at the school day, and that's what just keeps me going on a daily basis.
Thanks, Scott. All right, I'll start popcorning it out unless anybody wants to volunteer to go next. Sandra, yes.
I don't mind going next. Sandra Mendoza here with the Fullerton ACES school district. I work at Raymond Elementary School. I've actually been here this is my 10th year here at Raymond. And I am a site lead, site coordinator, just a different title, site lead, but site coordinator. So I have a site with the 80 students that we provide currently. And of course, the district has 9 sites. They have 7 elementary, 2 junior high, serving 600 students that I was aware of. And it's a lot of students. If 80 to me it's not a lot, I'm used to like a 120, but with the whole COVID staffing, it's been difficult trying to fill in the positions, to fill in more spots for students to attend because we don't have enough teams. So I am very appreciative and thankful for the team that we do have. And like Scott mentioned, like they put their dedication to it. And if it wasn't for the team, it's like the effort. If it wasn't for the team, then my job wouldn't be where it's at. You know, they provide everything, and they make my job easier. I told them, you guys make my job so easy because you guys work so hard, and the communication we have with the school is also very important. And I am very thankful that I do have that communication with the teachers, the principal, the parents. They are amazing. I've been very, very lucky here at the school, and there's challenges like everything else. And I kind of like those challenges because it keeps me going. And because like Scott says, we make an impact, and working in the same field, I think we all can relate to a lot of things that Scott mentioned. And it's just an amazing feeling to provide the support to the students, because we don't know what goes on at home. We don't know what goes on in the outside world, but when they come here, they're our students. And, you know, I always say, they always ask me, do you have any children? I was like, well, I have about 80 students, but I get to give them back, you know, because it's just an amazing feeling that I'm going to provide and bring them that safe and supportive environment that they need after school before they go home. Because once they go home, they just shower, probably have dinner and go to bed, you know, because they're here for that after school time. So it's such an amazing feeling to be working here. And again, my path was not to be an after school program. My path was to be a teacher, and then eventually a principal. So my goals haven't stopped from trying to be a principal, maybe now a counselor. Like, it just changes because working with the youth, it's just, there's so much opportunity, but I still want to continue to make as much impact in after school as I can before I do move on and transition to something else.
Thanks, Sandra. Martha, you want to?
Sure. So the question is how I got involved and why I stay in expanded learning. I'm Martha. I'm the after school coordinator for expanded learning. And I don't know if a lot of my team members know this, but I used to be a line staff. So I used to run after school programs in Oakland, really working with girls around STEM, science, technology, and engineering. And I started that job because I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And it was my way of figuring out if this is what I wanted to do as a career. And I just fell in love with it. I loved working with students. I loved being in an environment where I didn't have the pressures of testing and all of the things that come with being a classroom teacher. And I had the flexibility to really adapt the programming the way I wanted it, or what worked for my students. If my kids wanted to blow things up, we did rockets. If they wanted to learn about, materials engineers. We built different UBLAC and materials using different chemicals. And so it was that freedom and that flexibility that I really enjoyed that made me want to stay in this environment, in this field. And I was so good at it that at the time I then became kind of like a manager, and I was training new line staff, and just gradually I went from that into the compliance world, where I was like, numbers and spreadsheet, oh yay. So that's kind of how I've landed in this role. And I think it allows me to really see and understand when my community comes to me, like, we're really struggling, we're in the classrooms, we're dealing with a lot of these issues. I mean, I dealt with them too, the tension between the school day and the after school, and walking into a teacher's classroom when she's still there and I had to use it. So I understand a lot of that. And so I think one thing that has really, the pandemic has really helped is actually bridging a lot of that tension, because we had to really partner with each other during these last 2 years during distance learning. I'm kind of going to go into the next question, which is, how are we navigating all of these challenges and opportunities? The pandemic really threw a huge wrench in our work, and made us do and reimagine and shift how we provide programming to our students. And we at the expanded learning community, that's what we do. We shift, we change, we adapt. And so when the pandemic hit, we really looked to our partners, and we also worked with Lead by Learning from Mills to really create a space of inquiry where our 13 after school providers, our 120 site coordinators can come together and really share what was working, what wasn't working, what can we do better, how do we do more for our students, how do we really identify what our kids need and really adapt our programming to meet those needs. And it's been a huge shift in the way that we run our programs. We're much more integrated into the school day, not just by supporting our teachers, but really in partnership with them. So there's no longer this us versus them feeling. And we're adapting a lot of those lessons learned in our summer programming. So we were talking about all these opportunities. Well, this ELO program, my colleague, Julie McCollum, she's like doing cartwheels because she's like, we're going to run the best summer program in the world. And we are, but it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of partnership from our partners. So we're really going to reach out to them and bring them to the table and hear their opinion, their voices, as we move into how we're going to reimagine summer. Because it's really important for us to, as we design this new model, to make sure that they have a seat at the table and that their opinions and voices are heard. So I'm really excited about that. I know Julie's here. She's like, yes, we're going to do an amazing summer this year. And we are, but we can't do it alone. Sorry, I think I rambled.
Thanks, Martha. No, I can definitely feel your excitement and enthusiasm for the work, and definitely appreciate all of that. And Beth, I'll turn it over to you. I know you have lots of enthusiasm and excitement for this work too, so I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Heather. So yeah, I'm gonna pivot a little bit from what the others have said, because I would just repeat what they said. But anyway, I started out in expanded learning 30 years ago when I was I started out as a teacher. I went the other direction. I didn't go into expanded learning thinking I would be a teacher. I was a teacher, and I was my first job was in this little tiny mountain town in West Cliff, Colorado, where I met my husband, and he was building his parents' house, and my in-laws still live in little West Cliff, Colorado. And so they, even though it was a tiny community K through 12 school, they had a summer camp program, and I applied to lead that summer camp program. And it was the most rewarding experience and got me really headed in the direction of expanded learning. So when we migrated out here to the Northern California coast, I was substitute teaching, but then I applied to be the director of the small recreation after school program and summer day camp. It got much bigger, and then ACES 21st Century came along. And so the superintendent of schools here and I worked to join the Mendocino Collaborative, and been working there ever since. And I want to speak to what inspires me to continue championing expanded learning on the broader scope. And I have to say that inspiration comes from the CAN folks, from Michael, and from the other wonderful folks like ASAP Connect, and of course my Region 1 folks, and shout out to Region 1. And so, yes, every day I feel blessed to be surrounded by the folks that keep saying to me, keep going, keep going.
Thanks. Thank you, Beth. And I swear we're not here to say all those nice things about us. And we love working with you, Beth, and all of you. And Martha, before I turn it over to Michael, I did just want to say that, Martha, anytime you mention Julie's name, I see her in the YouTube chat blowing up the chat box. So she definitely is excited about summer learning this year. So
yes.
But
she's
Michael,
amazing. She was doing cartwheels while I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this money?
But Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
I just, thank you to all of you. And just to kind of surf, I think that image you just said, Martha, you were going like this and Julie was doing cartwheels. We see a version of that all day, every day, coming from community-based organizations, coming from school districts, mostly from school districts. And here we are. Most of my career, whether it was in this job, almost 10 years now at the Department of Education, but as a community-based organization, partnering with San Francisco Unified in the Sunset District, and then actually coming over to Oakland Unified for many years. Most of our programs were up and down International Boulevard, and but programs in different parts. The conversation was always about, where can we find more money? If we just had more money, we could do this. If we just had more money, we could do this. There's not enough money advocating coming to the state. We need more money. And we got more money. We got more money. But because of the pandemic and the challenges of the workforce, and because of COVID, we've actually got school districts who are actually asking us if they have to take the money. Now, I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. At some point, if that's what you're thinking, there's going to be some parents and students in your community who might approach the school board and ask why the district's not using this money to support their children. Right? If we're truly leading with students first. Now, I get it. So there's the oh my God, and there's the cartwheels. So I'm just going to put it back. So in this challenge of amazing opportunity with unprecedented challenge, let's first of all, let's just not single out education or even expanded learning as having workforce challenges. We know it is a problem and issue across all sectors. We also know that there are many other sectors who are able to offer much more incentives to entice people to go work in their area, in their business, in their industry, maybe more than we can. How are you dealing with that? I'm just going to put it out, and I would just going to ask you to talk, have a conversation with each other, with yourselves, ask questions, and maybe share some nuggets. If you share maybe a challenge that you're wrestling with, others might identify with you and know they're not alone. And what I've seen in many settings is just this past week, in one Zoom chat, there was one district that was in a small group with another district, and they shared, well, this is what we're doing. And it kind of turned on the light bulb for another district person who said, oh, I never thought of that. Maybe, okay, there's solutions. So the answers are here. They're in the room. The challenges are here. Who wants to jump in?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just jump in really quick. So, I think we've all lived the last 4 or 5 years, 10 years. Are we going to be able to function next year? Because minimum wage is going up. We're all worried about, are we going to be able to function, run a good quality program on that? And then all of a sudden, it's like, you can do what you need to do now, and with plenty of money to do it. So that feeling is almost, it's just amazing how it's like, are you serious? We can actually do this? Because we've been ingrained to that for the last 5 years of, are we gonna, how are we gonna make it, type of thing. So I think what Him at Unified is looking at doing is the first thing is we had to put a team together. We had to put an admin team together because this is a huge, big thing on our plate that we have to accomplish and do it right. But we needed to listen to our stakeholders. We need to listen to our parents. We need to listen to our students. We need to listen to our teachers. We need to listen to our community partners. We need to listen to. So we've been really surveys, working with people, finding out what the needs are. We have Boys and Girls Clubs. We have other clubs within our communities that we're tapping into, our Parks and Rec organizations. So our first step was to put that team together of the admin, and then start running little pilots of things. And one of the pilots that we ran was, we had 6 community partners that came in, and we bused kids to a site, and we had them run sessions for 12 weeks. So we had a soccer club come in, we had a volleyball club come in, we had a acoustic guitar teacher come in, we had a robotics teacher, a Lego robotics teacher come in. We have an outside band agency that's coming in to do stuff. We're trying to work with Girl Scouts. We're trying to work with Stomp Clubs. We're just really trying to find all these different alternatives because of staffing. We can't do it all ourselves. And there's, we just don't have the staff to do it. Or as a district, I don't feel like we can go out and just start advertising all these jobs because we're going to deplete all our other departments. If we have more hours, more pay than what the other departments are, now we're creating a hole for our district itself. So it has to be very strategic of what we're doing and doing it step by step. But what we found with the pilot is that worked really, really well. Our next step in January is to start our 6 o'clock, our before school program. So we're going to start running from 6 to 6. So we're gradually just putting things in place from what the parents' needs were. We have a lot of parents out there that we serve that really want something before school. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, thank you, Scott. Beth, you were enthusiastic.
Well, this is kind of like, because I'm sitting on the workforce implementation committee, and then I also was on the rapid response workforce committee over the summer. And I got to say, Scott, that's some amazing think outside the box things that you're doing there. And so one of the things I can really relate to what you were saying, Michael, about the school districts are like going like this, because when I got on the rapid response committee, I was doing that as well and saying, wow, and I think, a lot of the school districts are feeling completely overwhelmed, like they've got to get this in place immediately. And so that's why when Scott's saying, no, we're ramping it up, we're putting it in a little at a time, that's a really great way of looking at it. Like there's no expectation that it's going to be done overnight and you're going to be serving, 80% of your unduplicated students overnight. And so that's a great way of thinking about it. What I'm doing with with my little staff, but I think it's a pretty novel approach, is that we've developed just an apprenticeship program for new staff coming in this year, because we, of course, have the workforce issues that everybody has. And so we've developed a kind of a pilot apprenticeship program to where we're actually like training folks on the job. And so they start out as an apprentice and they do on the job training plus some additional hours, and then they can become an instructor. And so I think that we just need to, like we just need to really think creatively outside the box and see what works.
I just want to just amplify something you said, Beth, which is, and Scott mentioned, demonstrated in his example. There is time to build this. And when people are like, do I have to take this money? We understand it comes from a place of stress and anxiety and overload. There's not enough hours in the day. We understand that, but there's time to build this. And the state's not just waiting. It's like some people, we've trained people so well that the state's looking over your shoulder. And if you don't do this and get this done and cross this T and dot this I, we're going to come get you. The state's not waiting around the corner to slap you on the hands as soon as you get the money because something's not happening. We are here as your partner, as your ally. All the folks, the entities that Beth has mentioned a bunch of times, there is a statewide system of support. And I've recently had districts say to me, we've got this. We have a plan, we have a vision, and I'm willing to talk to any district who wants some help working through this. So if we band together as a community in California and draw upon each other's expertise, I think the fear comes when you feel like you're alone, you don't quite know the answer, and somehow you're going to get in trouble, right? Because you haven't done the right thing. I just hope that you can all see me and my team and all of our partners as your ally and your support. Martha, you mentioned community partners. We've got some places where the community partners are trying to get in the door to talk to the district. They're trying to help. They're trying to figure out. They're trying to be part of the solution, and they're not having success having that conversation. Can you talk about how your approach to this, and as you do, talk about the importance of community partners?
Sure. Thank you, Michael. So in Oakland, we have 13, and next year we'll probably have 14 after-school providers that support over 72 after-school programs, serving just over 10,000 students every day. That's a lot. And they're the ones that really understand what is happening on the ground, especially here in Oakland, because we are such a diverse community. Every need of every school looks very different. And so for us to sit in a room in a silo and come up with a plan would not work, because there's just so much happening in Oakland. And this is where it's really important for us to connect with all of our 13 organizations and hear from our 100+ leaders in the community. We were very fortunate that before the pandemic, we had a community of practice where we would convene everybody regularly to kind of just share out best practices, lessons learned. And it was through that community that we really were able to learn from one another when the pandemic hit. And it's that community that will help us pivot our programming to incorporate the ELO or the ELO program resources. And I mean, it wouldn't work for us to come with the one program plan and expect it to work across our entire district, just because our district is so big and so diverse. But we're also, we've been working very closely with our providers and our after school community. And now we need to invite our teachers and our district leaders to the table to ensure that these resources are being spent according to the needs of our community. We have some ideas. We know that there's been a huge need for after school programming for our TKK students. So that's one area of growth that we're really going to focus on. The second is we're going to eliminate all of our wait lists. So we're going to look at all of our programs with wait list. And then our summer is really going to expand. But what that looks like is still, a big question for us. I can't say, hey, this agency, I need you to expand to TK. And they're like, we can't even hire for what we have now for the programming that we're offering right now. So it would be unrealistic and unfair to have that kind of expectation without them being at the table to ensure that if we do roll out a program that will expand to TKK programs, that they have the ability to do so in a way that will really support our students rather than me just coming down and saying, this is what needs to be done.
Thank you, Martha. One of the things I've been saying even this week when I've met with a group of grantees and school districts is we use the term grantees because ACEs in 21st Century are grants, but now every district has the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program. And by the way, not to be confused with the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant, AB 86, which was one-time funding that is probably still in districts, still accessible, but it's going to go away. But the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP, is here. And some folks have even said to some of our staff, how do I know this is going to be here in 2 or 3 years? Well, I can tell you that just a couple of days ago, we met with Assembly and Senate staff and Department of Finance staff, and there is a commitment that this is going to be ongoing, as much as you can say that in government work, that this is ongoing funding that's going to increase significantly from where it is. So if you think you have resources now, you're going to have more. So thank you, Marta. So Sandra, you are in such close proximity to the families, what they need, just in your comments, the way you talked about your love for those 80 kids and the fact that you've got them and then they're going to go home and eat and shower and go to, you know these families and kids and you know their needs, and that is such a driver for you. So what's coming up for you, and what do you see now as you're seeing both the challenges and the opportunities?
Just a little bit about what Martha said about being able to run these programs. I think for us right now is staffing, like honestly to hire staff, because I have a wait list. Other sites have a wait list, but we have to be on a freeze because how can I enroll the 120 students I'm able to enroll, but I don't have my 2 other team members here. And even if we get substitutes and we're looking and we're searching, and I think that right now is our main problem right now. But one thing that we did that was a first for ACES in our district is a summer program. We were able to run a summer program last summer, and it was a hit. Did we have that many students? Probably not what we expected, but it was our first year. So having that opportunity to provide that for families, I think is going to be something. I think that was like one of the highlights, I think, of the year that we had actually an ACES summer program, not a fee-based or not something else or with the CBOs and so forth. So that was the main thing. But I think right now for us is the staffing the team, because we are able to have the students, but we just don't have the team support. And like we had mentioned before, I think in the past, having minimum wage was a little bit lower than what I've always thought that the pay, at least through the Fullerton School District or the district I work at, was very high and a very good pay to start off with. So, and it was always a big difference from minimum wage. But now that minimum wage has gone up, because it takes a special person to work with the young youth and the children, and we've had teams come and join us, and then a week or two later, they're like, oh, we're going to put in our 2 week notice. We don't want to, they don't have that passion, and you have to have that passion, the patience, dedication. And I think that's where we're at right now. I mean, I think there's been a lot of talk of doing the TK, because right now we provide kinder through 8th grade. But I know the TK transition is in talks. I'm not really at the district. I'm not a supervisor to know a lot of the detail about the funding quite yet. We haven't really talked about it. And I know the district is working with OCDE also to try to see what the funding is about and what they're going to use it for, and so forth. So I'm a little bit on I don't really have that much information, just because I work more closer with the students and parents at school. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. And Heather, I want to say to our 4 amazing leaders and everyone in California, we're going to have new information coming out in the next couple of weeks that is going to make it even more clear how this funding is more flexible than you might think, how easily it can blend with the ACES funding. There's this perception out there that, wait a minute, it says that the ELO program and the ACES program can be one comprehensive program, but the ACES restrictions are so much tighter. And well, we've been taking a look under the hood. We've been taking a look in the mirror and seeing how we at the department have communicated in ways that make the ACES funding more restrictive than it actually is. In fact, when you look at our early release guidance on the webpage, we're out of compliance with what the Ed Code says. We have made it seem too restrictive. What the Education Code actually says, you just have to follow your own early release policy. It doesn't say what it is. So you can make your early release policy tailored to the needs of students and families. And I'm just saying this, we're going to try to be more clear, and we're learning more every day. We're digging on, but we are working hard at the policy level. I'm just thinking back to the pandemic when we were able to work with the legislature and the governor's office to suspend parts of Ed Code to give you more flexibility. Now, this is different. We're not able to do the same thing, but we're seeing places where, quite frankly, local decisions have been made to make ACES more restrictive than it actually is, and it needs to be. And we have seen where we have contributed to that. So Heather and I are going to be jumping on Fireside chats. There's going to be policy guidance. There's going to be more FAQs coming to the website, which give even more clarity to this. That's one of the reasons why it's important not to try to make a rash decision about whether and how you're going to use this funding, because there's time. I'm going to repeat that. There's time. And over the next several weeks, we're going to be releasing more and more information to give more clarity, to give you more ideas and guidance. So Heather, I think we're all over the map on the kind of questions we talked about. So I'll let you figure out where we're going to go next.
Yeah. Well, so based off of everything that everyone said and what you were just sharing, Michael, I think what I would love to do is offer everybody an opportunity to dream for a moment. And so each of you shared really concrete, okay, we're growing, we have this, and so we're going to grow that. We're going to take this piece and we're going to do that. And that is wonderful. And I think that is how we move forward. And we hold that at the same time that we hold this much larger vision for what we can grow into. And we know the resources are going to grow. And we know, given what Michael just shared, there is a lot more flexibility than a lot of us are used to operating under. And, we'll work on the policy sides, and there's a little bit of shifting the culture to also, move out of that compliance checkbox mode and to really think creatively. And one of the last Fireside chats we had, one of the staff person at the district talked about, what are your dreams? Go back to, you got into this because you had dreams about how you could work with your communities and your students and all the different things that you could offer them. And then, we get into the nitty gritty and we kind of forget about our dreams, but I would invite all of you to dream and to think about what are are the opportunities, maybe things that you've been restricted because of funds, because of whatnot. And in a couple years, what might you do because you have the resources and you have the flexibility and you get to put your dreams into action. So that's a pretty wide out there prompt, but yeah, I would just open it up if anybody. Beth is ready to go. Beth is her dreams. Beth, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, when you were asking that question, Heather, it's just like all these things are coming up in my mind. I was like, yeah, I want to talk about this one. We served we've always served the kids that are the most marginalized, the ones that maybe get lost in the day, or the ones that have the needs and need the academic support, need the social emotional more than anything support. The last couple of years, it has been really highlighted by the pandemic, the needs of our community, the needs of these students. And so when you're talking about that, I'm thinking, these are the students that need the after school program. And so often they aren't getting it for whatever reason. And so as I'm dreaming, I'm thinking about all of these kids that we really need to embrace, that we really need to build relationships with, to begin to provide them with the emotional support that they need and the academic support that they need. The students are behind and they need our support to help them to achieve in school, both socially and academically. And so, my dream would be with the after school program, or with the expanded learning program, is to have more support services. That would be, there's just as much as we can get for support services that we don't currently have through ACES, because ACES basically covers staffing costs, and that's where we're at. And so to be able to also provide some of the services that the kids have during the day, and even maybe more services than what the kids might have during the day. But that's my dream.
I'll follow up with Beth. My dream is our dream is to have a 6-to-6 program where it is equity driven, that every student gets what they need, no matter what their need is. If that's bringing in mental health professionals, bringing in counselors, bringing in people who can help with special education, if it's an intensive tutoring program for certain kids, if it's an academic-based enrichment, if it's sports, if it's something, but every kid every day has an opportunity to do something, and also to bring it as a community. I think we've lost, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about locked schools that are locked. And we only allow parents on the schools at certain times of the day. And actually, we don't even allow them on the schools. They drop their kids off and they have to pick them up outside of a locked gate. And they're not community-based schools anymore. The schools need to be hubs for the community. And people have to have that pride in that school and be proud to be there. And we have to bring those parents in because we look at a lot of different things like chronic absenteeism. How do we need those kids to belong? We need those parents to belong, to be able to have them show up to school. And that's what we have the power to do by bringing all these wonderful things in. So in a nutshell, 6-to-6 program with everything that everybody needs.
I think we all share pretty much the same dream about having all these resources, especially after school, because, basically once the office closes, that's it. We're on our own. I mean, we have our supervisors that are still here until 6, but that's it. We do need those resources. And my dream would be to bring in those resources, especially for mental health. I think my dream would be a life without COVID. I mean, and at this point, we need to have a norm, because like Scott said, we don't allow parents on campus. I used to have parent nights, theme nights. We were barely getting in the roll of things before COVID, and then bam, we get hit with COVID. So I think it's just the dream is to find the regular norm that we're going to continue with, even with this pandemic, survive this pandemic, and, have the students, and parents want to come on campus, be around the students again, helping the students, getting the extra resources. And sadly, like Beth said, yeah, our funding does go a lot with the team and the staff. And, it would be nice to have more technology, especially once this pandemic hit. We knew how much technology was important, that all students had technology. So even for ACES to have the students be able to have that technology piece is very important.
I think everybody pretty much said what our dream is, but I think in Oakland we are a huge, community schools district, and really embracing that 100% by bringing in our mental health services, our attendance and discipline, and really supporting all of our departments. So when a child steps onto a classroom or into a school site, they don't know the difference between their school day and their after school. It's a full day comprehensive program where we're focusing on the whole day, the whole child. It's like that W3 Michael Funk that we did a couple of years ago. It's really that. It's creating a space for our children to really succeed that incorporates everything and everyone. And the kids, it's seamless to them, and they're just there succeeding. And that to me is my dream. And I think we're getting there slowly but surely. I think at least in Oakland, we're starting to make those transitions.
Well, lots of comments in the chat. If you see me looking down, it's because I keep checking the chat box. Everybody has so much appreciation for your dreams and what you all have been sharing throughout the whole chat. I'll personally share, like, you all are very inspiring. I know a lot of times Michael and I get on calls and we do have the like throw your hands up in the air, like, oh, this, that, whatever. And our good friend Steve Fowler keeps reminding me that this is a much deserved investment into expanded learning, and there's so much opportunity. And so appreciate the conversation that we're all having, where you're holding, like, what do we do now, but what is that vision that we're moving towards. And I do think we're getting close on time. So Michael, I'm thinking it's probably about time for us to wrap up. And given this is Leadership Awards, I would like to invite all of our awardees to maybe just close out this conversation, sharing a leadership lesson that you've learned that you would just like to share with the group. That could be something you learned 10 years ago. That could be something you learned in the last couple years with COVID, something you learned yesterday, but kind of just wrapping up our time together and inviting you to share your wisdom. Annie, Scott, I'll turn it to you, and then Sandra.
All right. Well, I have two things I've learned in the past couple of years, or all through leadership, is being vulnerable is number one. When COVID hit, I went to my staff and I said, I have no idea what we're doing. I need your guidance, I need your wisdom, and I need your support to build this. And they built the best online intervention and enrichment that I have ever seen in my life. We were seeing 700 students a day through what we're doing that way. And my team built it because I gave them that idea, that I gave them the power to do it on that. The other thing is inspire. Just inspire people. If you can inspire people all day long, they're going to exceed, they're going to excel in what they do. And I think that's the biggest piece of it.
Sandra, we'll turn it over to you.
That was well said. Yes. Resiliency. I mean, you have to learn, even with COVID, even before then, having so much resiliency, because you have no idea the impact you make with the students. And like Scott said, we were also able to make an online platform within 2 weeks. And I think it takes leadership, the strong leadership to take us and the team. So I kind of went with 3: resiliency, leadership, and team, because without that, we can't function. We don't have it. It's not me or that. It's the whole program, the whole team. So
yeah, I'm gonna basically say what Scott said. I mean, really relying on your team, and also trust. Like, you need to trust your community. You need to trust what they're saying, and really move in a direction that will support them. Like Scott, I also came to my expanded learning community. It's like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and they're the ones that really spearheaded a lot of the shifts that we did in Oakland. So yeah, it's vulnerability, it's trust, it's you know, and having a strong backbone to say no. That's also been, because there's been a lot of asks and a lot of, you know, demands from other departments that don't really understand our world. So it's got to be being able to say, no, this is not where our attention is going to be. This is what we do, and this is what we do great. And this is how we're going to support you.
All right, Beth, bring us home.
Well, I echo everything that everybody has said, but this one's easy for me. It's lead with love. And that might sound simplistic, but I made a decision this year to be intentional about it, to live it. And Michael, it's not that easy, and it's not that it's simplistic, but I am going to continue to learn from my goal of every day leading with love in everything.
Thank you, Beth. And I have noticed behind you, you have your Lead with Love sign on your tree. Yeah, so you're reminding yourself every day of leading with love. Well, definitely a huge appreciation to you all, and a huge congratulations for the very much deserved awards. And Michael, I would like to turn it over to you for some last words as we close out. You're muted. We needed at least one of those moments.
Wow. I'm just kind of sitting with how I'm feeling. Last week, my daughter Janae's 5th grade classroom had some unusual, you know, with the stress of coming back from the pandemic, with 5th grade hormones, with everything, there seemed to be this rash of bad behavior, and really, really good kids not being their best self to each other. Kids who've been lifelong friends, and it's just part of what is the environment. They're not, you know, I don't think they've actually really healed yet from the trauma of COVID and what it's done with all of us. So we had this moment of inspiration of let's remind these kids of who they really are at the core. And we actually bought every student in Janae's class How to Fill Your Bucket book. And we went to the dollar store and got them all a little bucket. And 2 nights ago, we went to Office Depot and got a big roll of raffle tickets. And Janae's now dubbed herself the kindness captain of her classroom. And they're now going to start getting tickets for acts of kindness to start putting them in the bucket. And I mean, classrooms all over the country have been doing this, but it was just this moment to see. The reason I share that today is because today you 4 have filled my bucket to the point I'm just feeling emotional. All of us have faced really difficult challenges every day. And I'm just going to say 2 or 3 days ago, I was struggling with some sadness and some depression at the amount of people who were coming at us with such negativity about the problems, about, you know, can't use this funding, this isn't going to work, or you're not doing this, or you're not. And today I'm inspired. Thank you for filling our buckets, for being our leaders. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And our kids deserve it. All of what you shared with your vision, our kids deserve it. And they're going to get it. And we're not going to stop till they do. And that's what leading with love is. That's being tireless, advocating, never giving up, holding your vision, and working until every child and family has what they deserve. And we have the resources to do it. Thank you, Heather, for hosting. Let's keep the lights on.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Michael. Much appreciation to everyone who joined us. And yeah, congratulations and thank you. And we'll see you on the next one.